Punic Wars digital notebook activity. Word wall, vocabulary. Word, Carthage, planks, Hannibal, Zuma, Scipio. An ancient city on the coast of North Africa near present-day Tunis, founded by the Phoenicians 814 BC. A long, thin, flat piece of timber used especially in building and flooring. General who commanded the Carthaginian army in the Second Punic War, crossed the Alps and defeated the Romans, but was recalled to defend Carthage and was defeated. Final battle of the Second Punic War, where Hannibal was finally defeated. Carthage was forced to sign a peace treaty, giving up control of Spain. The Roman general that defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Zuma during the Second Punic War. Punic Wars map analysis. Examine the map of the Punic Wars above. Make 3 observations about the invasion routes and land conquered in the space below. So that means look at the map, and then based on what you're seeing and reading on the map, what can you say about the invasion routes and about the land that they chose to conquer in the spaces below. Punic Wars video introduction. Directions. You are going to watch an introductory video on the 3 Punic Wars. Click here to access the video. After watching, identify 3 interesting pieces of information in the table below, as well as images to go with each. So you have to watch the video to get the information to fill out the table. Interesting information. What did you find interesting about this information? So once you find the information, what do you think is kind of interesting or kind of cool about it? And an image from the internet that goes with it. Punic Wars, close read and text-dependent questions. Directions. Read the following text and respond to the text questions that follow. The First Punic War. The First Punic War began in 264 BC. The term Punic comes from the Latin word for Punicus, meaning Carthaginian, referencing the citizens of the city of Carthage. The war began when Rome intervened in a dispute occurring on the western coast of Sicily. Rome supported one group while Carthage supported another. This action resulted in war. The war lasted for nearly 20 years. At the end of the war in 241 BC, Rome had acquired Sicily as its first overseas province. The Second Punic War. The Second Punic War began in 218 BC. A Carthage general by the name of Hannibal and some 90,000 soldiers, 12,000 cavalry, and around 40 elephants marched through Spain, through the Alps, on their way to northern Italy. Upon arriving in the north of Italy, he was able to defeat Roman troops at Cannae in 216 BC. Then, a Roman general by the name of Scipio began to fight back. Scipio headed to Carthage to continue fighting. Hannibal then decided to leave his post in northern Italy to defend his Carthage against Scipio and his Roman army. Scipio was able to defeat the Carthage troops at Zuma in 202 BC. The western Mediterranean then fell to Rome. A year later, Carthage asked for peace. Rome agreed, but many Romans remained suspicious of Carthage. For years after the war ended, a senator named Cato the Elder ended every speech with these words: "Carthage must be destroyed." The Third Punic War. The Third Punic War began in 149 BC. Cato the Elder was successful in convincing the Senate of Rome that Carthage was still a major threat and needed to be destroyed. The Romans then sent an army to North Africa, beginning the Third Punic War. In 147 BC, the command of the Roman army changed hands. A general by the name of Scipio took command of the Roman armies that had been currently occupying Carthage. In the spring of 146 BC, he pushed into the city of Carthage, destroying everything. After 7 days of intense fighting, the Carthaginians surrendered. The city of Carthage, which had existed for over 700 years, fell to Rome. It is said that as the Roman troops left Carthage and North Africa, they tilled salt into the soil to prevent anything from ever growing there again. So these are the questions that go along with the text that I just read to you. Number 1, how did the Punic Wars get their name? Number 2, how did the First Punic War begin? Number 3, how long did the First Punic War last and what new province was acquired? Number 4, who was the general of Carthage that marched into northern Rome and identified some of the reinforcements that he brought with him? Number 5, in what city did the Carthage commander defeat the Roman army? Number 6, describe how Scipio helped Rome gain control of the western Mediterranean. Number 7, the blank Punic War began in blank BC. Blank the Elder was successful in convincing the blank of Rome that Carthage was still a major threat and needed to be blank. Describe what the Roman army did as they left the city of Carthage. And lastly, make an inference. So that means you're going to think about the question and it's what do you think? Okay, so why do you think complete control of the Mediterranean was important to the Romans? So why do you think that the Romans thought that they needed to have total control of the entire Mediterranean area? Why was that so important to them? Put your inference thought in the space below. Punic Wars, Hannibal and the Battle of Cannae. Directions. You will now watch a video about Hannibal and the Battle of Cannae. On the graphic organizer below, you are going to identify 5 interesting facts from the video in relation to Hannibal and the battle that ensued. Click here to access the video link. So find 5 and add them to the hand.